All right, myself and my son, JC,
Let's y'all.
we're out here looking at the new addition to the family. And somebody said, well, what in the world you need that tractor when you have this big old behemoth? And make no mistake about it, this is a big one. Been raining a lot, so it's been muddy out here. Well, I'm going to explain to you for a second. And again, that's the reason why I continually keep saying that Israel needs to be an agricultural people. So we go with John Deere because we know it's the best. But that right there is the cutter. And we use one for cutting. And we'll let it lay out for a couple of days to dry after that. And then this one would have that rake that many of you probably seen over on Patreon. And it will be doing the rake behind it. And not only that, it's always good to have a front loader because I tell them on the farm, you need that everywhere, don't you?
You do. It's a smaller bucket. It'll be good to use for wood. It's a smaller bucket, but we'll find something to use for.
Oh yeah.
It's cutting down trees, whatever.
And when you have, if you ever been out and watched farmers do it, they'll usually have two tractors running at one time. And we got, let me see, and then we have the roller, and this thing cannot pull that roller. That one can. And so this is like a 60 or 65 horse, something like it. Do you know?
I do not know.
I know this cap is not on that hydraulic line though. And this one over here is like, I think it's a 90. It's either a 90 or 100 horse, and that's a big deal because that little one can't do that. So it's just good to be able to have this type of equipment right here because, again, not only can we supply hay for the community, but communities like the two communities that's down there close in Tennessee, Brother Sean and Brother Ron and Steve and them, man, we can supply hay probably for them the whole winter if they need some. Because they just starting off and they won't need as much, but every time they come up on the Shabbat, man, we can just load up a hay bale in the back of the dually, can't we?
Yes.
And if they need more, we can just send them some. But that's how it's supposed to work when you have brethren and you're together in unity. Even Elder Mitchell and them, they closer. They need some hay, man. They can come down there Straitway, Kentucky East. But that's how I always think, though. What do you think about it, JC? They call me every name under the sun.
Yeah.
Especially people who will get out here and listen to disgruntled, demonically, I call them demonically in charge. Some of them are schizophrenic. But they'll just levy all these kind of charges against me and speak about me and cast my name out as dung. But how long you been living with me, son?
I moved here and I moved on the land. I had the privilege to move on the land in honor in 2017.
2017. And of course, here's our workhorse that actually went and got. Well, that thing does anything. It'll get that tractor and that tractor. It'll get the backhoe. It'll get everything. But, so, all this, some of these negative publicities, and there's some of the people who actually used to praise me. And, you know, I mean, used to, you know, the book says, don't let your own lips praise you, but to another man. And so it used to be some of my greatest cheerleaders.
Yeah.
They can't tell you one thing I've done to them.
Yeah,
I hear a lot of noise, but I don't hear one thing that I've done. I hear people regurgitating what other people saying, but is this your experience of living here at Straitway? Tell the honest truth, too.
No, we're still we got an APP out looking for the other Pastor Dowell. We still ain't found them yet. It just reminded me a lot of, you know, when David talked about in the Psalms, it wasn't the one that was my enemy. It wasn't my brother. It was the one that I went up to the tabernacle with every single day, praying with my friend. That's the one that came up against me.
So now we know what David meant.
Exactly.
When you see, but it's necessary that you have these experiences, though.
Yeah. You said it for years. There ain't no war like a civil war.
Ain't no war.
Obviously, that's what fighting and the warrings and stuff that Paul was talking about, the backbiting, that was always in warring inside the camp when you went to these different assemblies. So we're just reliving exactly what our people went through. So it's a good thing. But like you said, there's no good righteous man. And you could tell how good of a righteous man he is by the matter of how much he's hated.
That's true. And that's another key thing I keep telling people over and over again. When the book says, by their fruits you shall know them, what does the Bible say about a man that refuses to labor and refuses?
Exactly.
He's going to come to poverty.
Yeah,
that's what the book says.
And it's ordained of Yah. You brought that out. That's laborer's work is ordained of Yah to not hate it.
And the wicked, they always tend to want,
That's
but the
all.
righteous to plenty.
Exactly.
The wicked, I want, but the righteous always to plenty.
This is plenty. I was just literally telling my woman and my young betrothed when we was at the table, I said, this is my favorite TV show. When you was recording the gardens. I said, that's my favorite TV show. This is beautiful. I said, this is a life that I can never imagine living any other life. Ever since I came here, when I lived in Florida, I moved to be closer among the saints. Then when I lived off land, I could never ever imagine going back off land, living close to the saints. Every life that I prior lived, I could never go back to imagine living. So it's just when you, godliness with contentment is great gain. I don't know what everybody's looking for. I don't know what everybody's expecting. But there's a lot of stuff that you do behind the scenes that will never go recorded.
Well, right? You know me, I'm not there to appease the conscience of the court of public opinion. They can believe what they want to believe.
Yes,
but what I always say is this. Look at the time, energy, and effort that people put into stuff, and then look at Straitway. Look and see what their life about, and then tell them to show you what they've produced in life, and then look at Straitway.
That's true.
That's enough said right there.
Yes,
you can just throw the hat in right there. That's game over right there.
Right. That's the mic drop.
By their fruits, you're going to know them.
Yes, sir.
Hey, man, what's up? You just want to run in the mud water, don't you? Yep. And there go the family right there, some of them. But you hear him that right?
Yeah.
Hey, look. That little boy, he love his daddy, don't he?
We do.
And what a beautiful ministry we do have, though, huh?
Beautiful.
Hey, man, how you doing? How you doing, man? There? All right, bye-bye. Not now.
Yes, sir.
But if you notice, man, I get reports that some people are continuing on with the rhetoric and all that because we ain't got time. We really busy now. You know what I mean? But I've got this saying that I had to make sure that I quoted enough, but I had to make sure I embraced it. Lions does not concern themselves with the opinions of dogs. But you know what's amazing, man? Again, I'm serious about this background check stuff. People really, truly need to look into people's backgrounds because the majority of these people out there doing all this talking, they're criminals. True. They got a rap sheet of a criminal record that you wouldn't believe, but they want to paint to the people. Yeah. And that's the reason why I talk like this, because, they want to deceive the hearts of the simple. Everybody don't know this word like we do.
Yes, sir.
And even at that, we don't even know the word called in part.
Yes.
So, man, everybody don't know this word, but some people hold the truth in unrighteousness for the intent, purpose to deceive.
Exactly. And
that's sad. That's really sad. What do you think about all these people, man, that have or something like that to me, but never, ever seem to make it to me?
I've talked to you about it before. These people always say Pastor Dowell does not listen. And I always say, no, Shep always listens, because if that's the case, these people that have offenses, they will never say that they have spoken to Shep. So that means you do listen. It's just you don't receive everything. The Bible does tell you to not receive every man and try every spirit.
That's right.
So why they're expecting you to actually listen to every claim? Because honestly, to tell you the truth, most of the people that leave disgruntled, they say they have one issue, and that's the reason why they start off like that. But then they continuously make videos every week or every other week, bringing out and try to take down the doctrine. So honestly, even if Shep did do something like that, now you're listening to the people instead of listening to the Most High. And now you're ministering from what the people say. Yeah. Because they're constantly bringing up other offenses.
Hallelujah.
No, I just think it's just a whole bunch of offenses and the cankerworm is just eating at them.
Well, nevertheless, it's not our concern. We're going to continue to keep. Matter of fact, you see the reason why we got this quick, because we got a lot of work to do this summer. Yep. And we're going to keep on working. All right, son. Have a blessed day, all right? Shalom, shalom. Y'all king coming.